1 mile west of Gettysburg, rebel reconnaissance troops encounter Union resistance. The fight escalates out of control. Gettysburg, day 1, 10 a.m. 24-year-old Lieutenant Colonel Rufus Dawes leads the 6th Wisconsin Regiment of the Iron Brigade. These are the crack troops of the Army of the Potomac. 420 volunteers from the western frontier. They faced down the Confederates at Antietam. They're rugged and battle-tested. The Confederates outnumber them 2-1, but Dawes and his men have them on the run. The retreating rebels find cover in a 600-foot railroad cut. The rebels now have the advantage.
I first mistook the maneuver for retreat, but was undeceived by the heavy fire, which they began at once to pour upon us from their cover in the cut.
For Dawes, retreat is not an option. Heroism runs in his family. His great-grandfather, William Dawes, rode with Paul Revere.
Of all the people that you didn't want to go up against on a battlefield like that was Rufus Dawes and his Westerners. Those Western troops were tough, and he was tough. More importantly, he was tough and experienced. There's no replacement for that on the battlefield.
Just 175 yards to the railroad cut. It will cost Dawes 1 man for every yard they advance.
The whole field behind is streaming with men, plunging in agony, sinking to death on the ground.
In the noise and thick smoke, Dawes must rely on the regimental flags, the colors, to command his troops. But flags are a magnet for enemy fire.
Men were being shot by the 20s and 30s. But the boys crowded in right and left towards the colors and went forward.
Dawes loses 10 men carrying the colors in a matter of minutes. The Confederate flag is within the reach of his Iron Brigade men.
Corporal Eggleston sprang forward to seize it and was shot and mortally wounded. Private Anderson, furious at the killing of his brave young comrade, with a terrific blow, split the skull of the rebel who had shot young Eggleston. Into this deadly melee, who seized and held the rebel battle flag.
down your muskets!
The fight is over in less than 20 minutes. There are 600 rebel dead, wounded, or missing. Dawes loses nearly half his men.
He's one of those rare soldiers that when everything else is chaotic, Dawes was able to find clarity. He's able to find purpose. He understands that his soldiers have to be inspired by his presence.
But Dawes' win at the railroad cut is the exception. All around Gettysburg, 28,000 rebel troops are overwhelming 20,000 Union soldiers. The Confederate force, 75,000 strong, is streaming towards Gettysburg. The Army of Northern Virginia is led by legendary battlefield commander Robert E. Lee. Lee's strategy: shift the fighting out of the South and into the North, threatening cities like Harrisburg and Washington, D.C. He runs into the Army of the Potomac at Gettysburg.